always say, every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
No one's hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
How can it get better when we do not want to be better people? Do not want to be better. A lot of them youths just a waste away. Them a politician, no they try for the case. Not so thief, then they thief for. Then go carry our money, then go carry them to oversee. Na 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 na. Oh no no, they no dey. People know they try. Them a loot, them a scam, them a bribe every time. Instead, make we try, make we find solution. We can't fight, we they do corruption. In every situation, we need to be better. Me and you. Corruption is not the solution. Say no more looting, no more bribery, no more scamming. Me and you. Me, I know we can be better. Me and you. But things can be better if we make ourselves some better people.
Corruption is recognized as a global threat to peace and security, and in every clime where it is entrenched, criminality and insecurity prevail. Insecurity in the form of insurgency, armed banditry, robbery, kidnapping, and so on is rampant in the country, and corruption frustrates government's attempt to address the challenge. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Hawasani Garba. Today on the program, we shall focus on the recently concluded National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria, convened by the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria, ACAN, the research and training arm of ICPC at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
If you are just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go. The Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria, which was held on the 9th of September 2022, was aimed at identifying the drivers of corruption-induced and corruption-enhanced insecurity in Nigeria, internal mechanisms within agencies that can enhance capacity for fighting corruption, system-wide approach for incorporating anti-corruption measures, as well as recommending approaches for tackling corruption-induced insecurity in Nigeria. Speaking at the occasion, ICPC Chairman Professor Bolaji Owasonye, SAN, gave examples of how massive corruption was fueling insecurity in Nigeria and called for collaborative efforts of security, law enforcement, and anti-corruption agencies. Take a listen.
Experts have attributed the aggravation of insecurity partially to misapplication and misappropriation of funds in the defense sector procurement practices. Investigations by anti-corruption agencies will seek to bear this out. What is worse is that soldiers are often reported in social media of complaining of being poorly equipped and poorly motivated. These challenges can be partly traced to the revelation by the Center for Democracy and Development that about $15 billion has been squandered through fraudulent arms procurement deals in the last 20 years in Nigeria. While the ICPC and EFCC are investigating some of these anomalies, our efforts will not yield much without the proactive prevention measures and a review of extant procurement practices. ICPC, in furtherance of our statutory mandate to prevent corruption by a review of systems, processes, and practices of agencies of government, and to direct improvement where they predispose to corruption, has through its research and training arm convened this policy dialogue. We hope that informed views and contributions from the broad spectrum of stakeholders present here will clear misconceptions and offer new recommendations for dealing with this issue.
You are still watching Corruption Must Go, and our focus is on the National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria. At the event, the President of the Senate, Dr. Ahmed Lawan, who declared the dialogue opened, lamented that insecurity has affected economic growth and good governance in the country. He said that the situation has stopped rich individuals from investing in the country, as well as huge loss of foreign direct investments. The Senate President therefore advocated for joint efforts by citizens and government departments alike to tackle the problem of corruption, noting that the anti-corruption fight cannot be left for ICPC alone. Let us hear him.
Insecurity is a worldwide phenomenon, and Nigeria is no exception in this regard. Our country has been facing the challenge of insecurity, especially insurgency, since 2009. Despite the government efforts to curtail the menace, it has developed other manifestations that have slowed down the sustained assault of the government on this problem.
Welcome back. The National Security Advisor, NSA, retired Major General Babagana Mungunu, in his remarks, noted that insecurity has taken a toll on governance and public financing as a result of corruption in the security sector. The NSA, who commended some of the tools deployed by ICPC to tackle corruption in government ministries and departments, advised for a refocus on the root causes of corruption to enable a corrupt-free Nigeria.
Corruption is a cankerworm that has regrettably permeated virtually all segments of our society, with attendant consequences on the polity, economy, and security of the nation. In the public sector, it has taken a considerable toll on the government's capacity to effectively meet its obligations of providing security and welfare for the citizens in fulfillment of the primary reasons for governance. The resultant deprivation of want stoked frustration and desperation among citizens and could push some of them into committing all forms of vices in a bid to overcome poor quality of life and living standards. This is because corruption entails the mistreatment of public resources just for getting some unfair advantage through the use of power and position by anyone, whether in the government or non-governmental organizations, to the detriment of others. Indeed, the consequences of corruption on insecurity were clearly captured in the vague assertion of Mr. President that If we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us.
Goodwill messages were presented by the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Erabo, representative of the Inspector General of Police, the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Ayuba Waba, and the Honorable Minister for Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola.
Without development, there can be no security. And without security, there can be no development. The National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria, therefore, is not only timely, but also appropriate as we strive to curb the challenges of insecurity in our dear country.
The Inspector General of Police commend Professor Bolaji Owasalwe and his management team for their foresight and quality leadership disposition as manifested not only in the organization of this dialogue, but in the bite they have given to the national war on corruption. In congratulating the ICP for initiating this conversation, it is our hope that the dialogue will be frank and far-reaching, and the outcome will be potent enough to address threats of corruption and insecurity in our beloved country.
Let me also join in commending ICPC for this very important endeavor and also register our commitment as workers will continue to be committed to the fight against corruption. Corruption in Nigeria, as already stated, is a very systemic and real problem affecting every fabric of our society, and all the institutions, public and private, are actually affected, including our religious, very revered religious institution. It has actually contributed to the crisis of insecurity in Nigeria. First is the issue of managing even the scarce resources allocated to fighting insecurity. And two is about the issue of how we prioritize also the management of human capital development, including our armed forces. It was the former head of UN Office on Drug and Corruption, Antonio Mario Costa, that once said that money looted from public treasury in Nigeria, if tapped together and stretched to the space, it will get to the moon and back 45 times. This is the reality of the challenge. Not all Nigerians are corrupt, but we have few that are actually giving us a very bad name and bad image. And all of us must work together to fight against this few.
Among other measures, Nigeria is taking appropriate measures to tackle corruption, at least at the global to regional level. Virtually all criminal activities will now involve financial transactions. In this jet age, you can hardly carry out day-to-day transactions without leaving digital footprints. Terrorists, bandits, kidnappers need financial lifeline to operate. And when they criminally collect cash, they still have to go under into the financial system. These financial movements have local and international dimensions. It is important, therefore, to enhance the capacity of our law enforcement agencies for high-profile investigation and diligent prosecution in order to meet global standards for protecting our integrity as a nation and prevent it from being used as a safe haven for the movement of corruptly obtained money. In this regard, the Ministry of Interior, ICPC, and other relevant MDAs all have key roles to play in the effort to combat corruption and security. Cooperation among all stakeholders to synergize their activities, particularly in critical areas of information and intelligence sharing, to be enhanced. This is in recognition of the dynamic nature of crime and expertise of criminals and terrorist groups in diversifying their criminal activity. I am optimistic that this policy dialogue we are doing here today will facilitate the development of critical skills for enhanced identification, deterrence, and prevention of corrupt practices, and better equip our law enforcement agencies to undertake the responsibility imposed on them. I must commend all the law enforcement agencies, particularly the anti-corruption organs, for their diligence and hard work. I would also like to extend warm greetings and due appreciation to the ICPC Chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasalwe, SAN, for his commitment and ruggedness in carrying out the statutory duty of ICPC to review systems and processes towards curbing corruption in the country.
The traditional and religious institutions were also present as the Emir of Kefi, Dr. Muhammadu Chindo Yabusa, and the President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Archbishop Daniel Oko, also presented their goodwill messages to the gathering.
I am delighted to be here for Anti-Corruption Agency of Nigeria to participate and give a goodwill message in the National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria, which has become problematic despite attempts in addressing the challenges. I commend the Anti-Corruption Agency for organizing a national dialogue and at producing a policy guide including the challenges being faced. Let me call on the agency to come up with a concrete models towards eradicating electoral corruptions and producing a policy brief that will guide the national response to vote buying phenomenon in our country. I urge anti-corruption agency and other security agencies to expose misconduct of staff, as well protect whistleblowers on corruption and insecurity in Nigeria. I thank the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, for organizing the National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity at this very crucial time in our national history. There is no gainsaying the fact that these are the seismic twins ravaging our land. It is common knowledge that corruption gives rise to insecurity. Our nation is being threatened today by combined forces of local and foreign terrorists, and this is because the seeds of corruption so many years have now become our albatross. I therefore commend the ICPC for providing this veritable platform to address the evil of corruption and insecurity just in one day. It is indeed a bold step in the right direction. The corruptions from the rich array, the contributions from the rich array of resource persons, intellectuals, and leaders of various organizations that are gathered here today will surely enrich the outcome of this dialogue.
A major highlight of the day was a robust discussion on the theme by a panel comprising of Professor Amadou Sesay, Dr. Nwabu Gebre, Kadaria Ahmed, and Professor Isaac Olawale Albert. They dealt extensively on the security situation in Nigeria, the role of CSOs and the media, and early warning and response strategies, amongst other issues.
My name is Jamiu Olamide Farouk. I'm a proud student of Government Secondary School, Kubwa. And I would like to talk to everyone about a child's cry on corruption. Nigeria, my country. Come to think about it. Would there ever be a time when only great minds will be enthroned as our leaders? A time when corruption is killed and transparency becomes a friend of all. A time when the bridge that exists between the ruler and the ruled are no more. A time when the rope of purity, noise of kidnapping, armed robbery, money laundering, examination malpractices, Fulani headsmen and farmers clash, Boko Haram abducting our young girls and depriving them from going to school and becoming what they want to be, a place from our hearts. You see, sometimes people often ask me, why are you always so sad? I tell them I don't know, and truly, I don't really know. I wake up every day and when I see the high rate of corruption in our nation, Nigeria, I feel so sad, unsettled, depressed, like it was so lucky to be given birth to in this nation. I'm afraid of this nation. I'm afraid of putting my guard down for the fear that I'll be judged for something I cannot control. I'm afraid that one day someone will wake me up and tell me, hey, you're from Congo Brazzaville. Come to think about it. Do you think I would like to watch this nation fail? Do you really think I would like to watch this nation fall in all of self, hate, shame, and reproach? This is just a cry of a Nigerian child. Because there's a proverb that says, mother and motherland are greater than heaven. Therefore, taking this saying in mind, let's put in more effort not to make this heaven even more heavenly. As a student, I have learned of Nigeria's backwardness and its underlying factors. This imposes as a difficult challenge if I am to promote my country. But as long as I stand firm and take my mind off the negative factors, I can be successful, yes, in completing my duties. See, many people in Nigeria, I keep asking myself this question, why? Because of their poor condition and settlement. I understand and believe that I should not even think of migrating to foreign countries. But hell, to make Nigeria a destination country for others. To achieve this, I must work hard. Not only me, we all must work hard. For the previous generation made Nigeria a good place for us to call home. And today, it is my generation's turn to make it even more better for the future generation to live in. That being said, I am not capable of doing it alone. Hence, everyone should take their part in it. I will try to help Nigeria in any way I can. For being a Nigerian, I must work hard, which hopefully one day will be beneficial to my motherland. See, slowly but surely, Nigeria will shine as the brightest star. Why? Because I played my path together with all my fellow citizens living in every nook and corner of Nigeria, giving it everything we had to offer to make our nation proud of us. We should always remember, we should never ever forget that the future started yesterday. We've got to hurry up. We need to hurry up, because I'm telling you, we are already late. This is a Christ child about corruption.
There is no doubt that the outcome of the policy dialogue will go a long way in charting a course towards solving the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. That's our package on today's edition. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms showing on the screen. Please do note that the ICPC Twitter handle is now same as all other ICPC social media handles, which is at ICPC Nigeria. See you again next week for another engaging episode of Corruption Must Go. Bye for now.